The Fisherman and His Soul by Oscar Wilde. Part 9. But his soul answered, Nay, but let us tarry, for the night is dark, and there will be robbers on the way. So he sat him down in the market-place and rested. And after a time there went by a hooded merchant, who had a cloak of cloth of Tartary, and bare a lantern of pierced horn at the end of a jointed reed. And the merchant said to him, Why dost thou sit in the market-place, seeing that the booths are closed and the bales corded? And the young fisherman answered him, I can find no inn in this city, nor have I any kinsman who might give me shelter. Are we not all kinsmen? Said the merchant. And did not one God make us? Therefore come with me, for I have a guest chamber. So the young fisherman rose up and followed the merchant to his house, and entered into the house. The merchant brought him rose water in a copper dish, that he might wash his hands, and ripe melons, that he might quench his thirst, and set a bowl of rice and a piece of roasted kid before him. And after that he had finished, the merchant led him to the guest chamber, and bade him sleep and be at rest. And the young fisherman gave him thanks, and kissed the ring that was on his hand, and flung himself down on the carpets of dyed goat's hair. And when he had covered himself with a covering of black lamb's wool, he fell asleep. And 3 hours before dawn, and while it was still night, his soul waked him, and said to him, Rise up, and go to the room of the merchant, even to the room in which he sleepeth, and slay him, and take from him his gold, for we have need of it. And the young fisherman, there was lying a curved sword, and the tray by the side of the merchant held 9 purses of gold. And he pushed out his hand, and touched the sword, and when he touched it, the merchant started and awoke, and leaping up, seized himself the sword, and cried to the young fisherman, Dost thou return evil for good, and pay with the shedding of blood for the kindness that I have shown thee? And his soul said to the young fisherman, Strike him! And he struck him, so that he swooned, and he seized then the 9 purses of gold, and fled hastily through the garden of pomegranates, and set his face to the star, that is the star of morning. And when they had gone from a league from the city, the young fisherman beat his breast, and said to his soul, Why dost thou bid me to slay the merchant, and take his gold? Surely thou art evil. But his soul answered him, Be at peace, be at peace. Nay, cried the young fisherman, I may not be at peace, for all that thou hast made me do, I hate. Thee also I hate, and I bid thee tell me wherefore thou hast wrought with me in this wise. And his soul answered him, When thou didst send me forth into the world, thou gavest me no heart. So I learned to do all these things, and love them. What sayest thou? Murmured the young fisherman. Thou knowest, answered his soul. Thou knowest it well. Hast thou forgotten that thou gavest me no heart? I trow not, and so trouble not thyself nor me, but be at peace, for there is no pain that thou shalt not give away, nor any pleasure that thou shalt not receive. And when the young fisherman heard these words, he trembled, and said to his soul, Nay, but thou art evil, and hast made me forget my love, and hast tempted me with temptations, and hast set my feet in the ways of sin. And his soul answered him, Thou hast not forgotten that when thou didst send me forth into the world, thou gavest me no heart. Come, let us go to another city, and make merry, for we have 9 purses of gold. But the young fisherman took the 9 purses of gold, and flung them down, and trampled on them. Nay, he cried, but I will have naught to do with thee, nor will I journey with thee anywhere. But even as I sent thee away before, so will I send thee away now, for thou hast wrought me no good. And he turned his back to the moon, and with a little knife that had the handle of green viper's skin, he strove to cut from his feet that shadow of the body which is the body of the soul. Yet his soul stirred not from him, nor paid heed to his command, but said to him, "The spell that the witch told thee avails thee no more, for I may not leave thee, nor mayest thou drive me forth. Once in his life may a man send his soul away, but he who receiveth back his soul must keep it with him forever. And this is his punishment and his reward." And the young fisherman grew pale, and clenched his hands, and cried, "She was a false witch, in that she told me not that." "Nay," answered the soul, "but she was true to him she worships, and whose servant she will be ever." And when the young fisherman knew that he could no longer get rid of his soul, and that it was an evil soul, and would abide with him always, he fell upon the ground, weeping bitterly. And when it was day, the young fisherman rose up and said to his soul, "I will bind my hands, that I may not do thy bidding, and close my lips, that I may not speak thy words. And I will return to the place where she whom I love has her dwelling. Even to the sea will I return, and to the little bay where she is wont to sing. And I will call to her, and tell her the evil I have done, and the evil thou hast wrought on me." And his soul tempted him, and said, "Who is thy love, that thou shouldest return to her? The world is many fairer than she is. There are the dancing girls of Samurais, who dance in the manner of all kinds of birds and beasts. Their feet are painted with henna, and in their hands they have little copper bells. They laugh while they dance, and their laughter is as clear as the laughter of water. Come with me, and I will show them to thee. For what is this trouble of thine upon the comings of sin? Is that which is pleasant to eat not made for the eater? Is there poison in that which is sweet to drink? Trouble not thyself, but come with me to another city. There's a little city hard by, in which there's a garden of tulip trees, and there dwell in this comely garden white peacocks, and peacocks that have blue breasts. Their tails, when they spread them to the sun, are like discs of ivory, and like gilt discs. And she who feeds them dances for their pleasure, and sometimes she dances on her hands, and at other times she dances with her feet. Her eyes are colored with stibium, and her nostrils are shaped like the wings of a swallow. From a hook in one of her nostrils hangs a flower that is carved out of a pearl. She laughs while she dances, and the silver rings that are about her ankles tinkle like bells of silver. And so trouble not thyself any more, but come with me to this city."